Welcome back. This is The Pulse, of course, with me, Elton Robert. And remember, we've got a conversation with the Sports Minister, Kofi Adam, and of course, Herbert Mensah, about that incident that led to the death of a soccer fan at Insuatre in the Bono region. We'll have that for you pretty shortly. But the Environmental Protection Authority has moved to halt mining operations along the tributaries of the Offin River at Pasoro in the Ashanti region. The EPA has observed most of the illegal miners have failed to halt activities near river bodies, which is a part of efforts to reclaim river bodies affected by illegal mining. Chief Executive Officer Professor Nana Brown Klutse reveals the EPA will ensure mining along river bodies are stopped to restore the sanctity of water bodies. Nana Yaojima has more in this report.
The EPA issued a directive last month ordering the cessation of all mining activities within and along water bodies. It further indicated preparedness to seize and prosecute persons acting contrary to the directive. Checks by the EPA revealed persons perpetrating the illegality at Pasoro tributary of the Offin River continued to mine despite the order. Though the miners were absent at the time of the visit, 3 excavators and other equipment used in the mining operations were mounted at the site. According to experts, the pit is newly dug for the mining activities. CEO of the EPA, Professor Nana Brown Klutse, expressed disappointment at the spate of destruction.
When we came, we didn't find the miners on ground, but we have seen the level of destruction that has happened here. We've seen also not just the gold mine, there's also sand winning in this area. There's a lot at stake. So you can see the pit behind me. This pit, we need to reclaim the land. We need to rehabilitate the water. We looked at the water, the color of the water. You see a clear pollution of the water. We are here, we have seen it with our naked eyes for the first time. This is my first visit since I took office. And it's pathetic. I'll plead with the communities and their elders, the chiefs, to come in, step in this.
Continuous mining in the river bodies has resulted in the destruction of some water bodies in the country. To the EPA, restoration of the river bodies remain a priority.
So our first focus has been on the water bodies, because it is pathetic. We can't do without water. If our river bodies are all getting polluted and taps are not having water running through them, it's an emergency we need to tackle immediately. So that is where we started from.
Meanwhile, the tributary of the Offin River is also affected by illegal sand winning. Huge acres of land are destroyed by the winners. Professor Klutse reviewed the area will come under regulation.
EPA still regulates the sand winning or sand mining activities. So we just need to ensure that the miners of the sand have the right permit to do what they do. It is EPA's mandate to regulate that as well. Of course, they also go through the Minerals Commission for some licenses and access and all of that. We also want to plead with all the other agencies that are involved in such mining activities, providing the licenses and regulation to also up their game.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
So still on this matter, concerned citizens of Atiwa Landscape are making an urgent appeal to President John Mahama to repeal LI 2462, a regulation that they say undermine the integrity of Ghana's few remaining fragile forest reserves. They are also renewing their call for the Atiwa Range Forest Reserve to be upgraded to a national park, warning that unchecked mining activities threatens critical water sources, rich biodiversity, and ultimately human well-being. In a statement that came through today to mark Global Wetlands Day, observed under the theme Protecting Wetlands for Our Common Future, they stressed the urgent need for decisive action. Let me bring you the full details of that statement. That is what you have there as we mark the International Wetlands Day, and this is coming from the Atiwa. As we mark the day, they are asking the need to safeguard the Atiwa Rainforest Reserve. They commend the Paramount Chief of Achim Boka Traditional Council for taking a bold stance by ordering all miners to cease operations along the Brim River by February 28th. So that deadline has elapsed. However, it's yet to come actually. However, the pollution of Densu and Ayensu remains unaddressed, and they call for decisive action to ensure protection. And I'll run down to the bottom of it. They want President Mahama to repeal LI 2462 that grants mining in forest reserves as part of activities marking this very important day. So this is what is happening. So let me bring in the Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Klutse, and delighted to say that she's joined us via Zoom. Prof, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So, I mean, I heard you last year when we had that roundtable discussion on this very subject, and you are virtually walking the talk now. So you've been on the field, you witnessed the scale of destruction. How different will the aftermath of your visit be? Knowing very well this wouldn't be the first time state officials have been on the field.
Thank you very much. I think I have had to answer this question several times from the media. How differently are we going to do things, knowing that the fight has been on over the years and we virtually do not see progress or probably more distractions. We are going to work hard to do our bit. Mainly, we need to engage communities. Community members must understand the dangers these mining are posing on them. Those who allow the mining activities to happen in their communities must understand the dangers. The elders in the communities must also understand the dangers. So we need to do public education, and we're going to intensify this public education a lot, especially in the communities with the mining. We need to work on the water bodies that have been polluted. So EPA will be coming down to the water or the river bodies that are already polluted to rehabilitate, distill, desilt, and then rehabilitate the water to get it back to its original state. Once we are there working, we don't expect people to be also in the water to continue to mine. Since the release last week, we have received several complaints from people in different communities telling us what is happening in there. And it looks like our security agencies are not also on the ground. So the EPA is appealing to all institutions that are responsible to support this kind of protection of the environment, to help with the regulation, to make sure that the right things are done in all areas. We are appealing that they should come in to join us in this work. We know the Minerals Commission. We know the security agencies are also supposed to be here. We know the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are also supposed to be given permits for entry and all of that. So we appeal that together we need to go on this fight. So there are a lot of things we are going to do. In a long term, which of course we are going to start almost immediately, is this education. Every Ghanaian must value the environment. So we're planning education model to go on learning process that will help every Ghanaian understand the value of the environment so that we respect the environment. We cannot live without the environment. We have the environment, that's why we are living. So for our very existence, we need the environment. The air we breathe, as I always say, is from the environment. The water we drink and then the food we eat. These are the basic needs for survival. And if we continue to destroy the environment, we lack these things or get them polluted and it affects our life. This education will have to go down to the people. When we were on site at Offin, engage a few young men who came to meet us there because they saw that we were in our vehicles going to the site from the communities. We engaged them. They said, yes, they are used to do the mining. Why they have finished secondary school and they are not able to get employment or engage in that manner. So if they are able to get support or to go to school or get employment, they will not do this kind of business with the mining sector or the illegal mining engagement again.
Right.
So I believe we need to also look at employment, and that is what we were going to encourage government. We want to believe that the 24-hour economy policy of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be enrolled to take care of a lot of employment issues in the country so that it will minimize these illegal practices that we have.
So, Prof, I'm curious to know, I mean, the EPA has now moved from an agency to an authority. What power have you been given now? Such that we can have absolute faith that from this time going forward, we will see some meaningful results from the fight against illegal mining.
Yes, so in the last month of January, EPA turned to an authority. So we are to protect the environment, to regulate all activities that affect the environment, including agencies and companies. We are to provide oversight responsibilities over the environment and all matters that are relating to climate change. So once climate change comes in, we are talking also about every sector of the economy and everybody in the country. So EPA has an expanded mandate, and we have to educate Ghanaians also. So EPA, through the authority, has to get down to the district level on its expanded mandate to have environmental inspectors. So we need to touch on every district in the country as well, making sure that those who are in charge of waste management are doing their work well. Those who are in charge of everything, chemicals, pesticides, everything we do to touch the environment, EPA has a responsibility to regulate and to make sure that we are all doing the right things well in the country.
Final question before I let you go. LI 2462, will it go? I mean, mining in forest reserve is a major concern, and there is a demand from the chiefs of Atiwa that they want this LI repealed. There was some action on it before the expiration of the 8th Parliament. Now, with that expiration, it looks like we are about to square one. Is there a commitment to have it revoked?
Yeah, so let me explain a little bit for your listeners. So we know that the president of the country has powers to use the land anywhere it is in the country and allow entry of any land at all.
Right.
So a president can issue or allow entry into any parts, including protected lands like the forest areas. But then it is for EPA to say we agree or we don't agree to this area of land given out. Now, once the president, the then president, allowed entry into the forest, then it was necessary to now have a law to regulate the activities in the forest area. So the law is not to encourage mining in the forest area, it's to regulate. The law can be repealed if the president of the day says, I will not allow mining in the forest area. We can repeal the law because then there's no regulation in the forest area to do again.
What would be your recommendation towards this? If you are to recommend, what would be that recommendation?
My recommendation would be President boldly to say there should not be any mining in the forest area, and then there will not be any regulation because it's not happening. But currently, the challenge we have now is that entry has been allowed in the past, and we have big mining companies that are already in the forest. And it looks like we don't have an option but to regulate that. Without the law, we allow them to practice or to mine any way they want in the forest. So the president has the power to repeal the law, to revoke the licenses that they have been given. Once that license is revoked, EPA license is also revoked automatically.
Right.
And I heard last week that the president said we should revoke most of those licenses. And I hope that the big mining companies with all their powers will have their licenses revoked as well, so that we will not have mining in the forest and there will not be any more law about regulating mining in the forest area.
And so that review, is it underway to determine who should have its license revoked as far as the EPA is concerned? those who are mining the forest reserves?
Yeah, so I had a phone call with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources this afternoon, and he's setting up a committee which will be inaugurated tomorrow, and I'm sure it will come up in the media to have extensive discussion on this. So EPA has a representative there, and other institutions that are concerned with issues of mining and environment will also be represented. Once that is set, they are ready to discuss this extensively to see the way we have to go as a people.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Klutse. I know that we'll talk so much about this particular sector until we have a permanent solution to it. But now, I wish you the very best as we embark on this course across the country. Now, let's